So yeah, I'm really lucky to be here today with all of you beautiful, inspiring women. Just when I didn't think it could get any better, it got 4 times better. And you know, Rocky is my ride or die. She goes through everything that I go through, and I go through everything that she goes through. And me being diabetic is a 24-hour thing, and we've been together for the last 13 years. And I need her to know she's not alone. There are other type 3s out there, and you have to really love somebody to take care of them in that way. And I'm sure some of you have you're all type 3s.
So we call it type 3, but we might
Husbands.
have to change that, or we're just going to make them change. Right. So
Make me do everything else.
yeah,
Whatever you
so
want.
we can make everybody else change.
So whether it's husband, children, there's different experiences, but they're all similar. There's always one common ground, is love, because you want to take care of the people that you love, and you want to make sure they take care of themselves. I've been diabetic since I was 15. So what I want you to know is, especially all that have kids, diabetes makes you a superhero. It makes you invincible, because you have to be so disciplined about your life. And everything I've ever done great, I've done while I was diabetic. And I've always made sure, because the way I found out I was diabetic, I thought I had something much worse, so I was happy to be diabetic. So I've been celebrating ever since the fact that I felt like I had a second chance. But I do know that if I did not have my second half, I didn't have my type 3 sister, wife, it would be a lot harder. I don't know if I'd be able to take care of myself, talking to insurance, looking for the new innovative things. There was a conversation she was having with my doctor today about me that bothered me so much. Like, I don't even want to take that call.
My insurance denied vials. So I was like, so I literally have to use the pen to put it within. They said they're only going to give vials to children.
Well, that's the conversation I didn't want to hear again.
Sorry.
Because it gives me anxiety.
I was like,
Yes.
But what I thought would be cool, and meeting Ashley, a fellow type 1 warrior who's helped me rectify my situation. I was like a 7'8", now I'm a 7'0", going to a 6'9".
Good job.
Yeah, she's done wonders. But she's introduced us to you guys, and you guys have all had these different experiences, and eloquently, so it could be done. And I just like to share that, and I wanted this to be sort of a. So why can't we call it type 3? What's the problem with that?
Well, just recently they announced that they may be calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
We were there first.
Right.
but Alzheimer's, diabetes too? Type 3 diabetes? What?
They're calling Howard. Okay, well that's
There's
another.
type 1, type 2, and type 3 diabetes, and now there is a conversation about calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes.
But why would they? Does that mean they're
Insulin deficient?
insulin deficient?
They
Their
do, like,
their
just,
pancreas
like, the
isn't
brain
working?
and the blood, and it just it's becoming hot, like so. It's, I don't.
But it has nothing to do with the pancreas.
Wait. But before we get into all
Okay.
that,
It might.
let's.
I don't know, who knows,
I'd like to go. I'd like to go.
Diet.
I'd like to
That's
go.
the thing. It's like it's diet. Yeah.
I'd like to go around the room. Everybody, introduce yourself and tell everyone what type of type 3 and what the situation is with you. And I'll be looking and very attentive. This is great. All diabetics have beautiful type 3 counterparts.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess to be type 1, it's like there's just some luck that comes with being type 1.
Again, as you said,
It's very kind.
people with diabetes have superpowers, so
Yeah,
this must be
that's
part
so
of it.
true.
That they attract.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
attract the attractive.
Yeah. Yes.
Got it.
Has to be it.
So let's introduce.
Yes, I'm Celeste Walls, and I am a type 3 mom to identical twins who have type 1 diabetes. Professionally, I am a mortgage loan officer for American Residential Mortgage, and I wasn't always that. For over 10 years before my twins were diagnosed, I was the managing editor for Central Florida Media Group right here in Winter Haven. And after our second girl was diagnosed with type 1, you do an assessment of what's important in life, and I said to myself, you know what? I've got to be there 24/7 for my girls and our other kids. We have 5 kids. They need me. So I did what any mother I think would do for her children, and just restructured my career so that I could run my own business, work from home, be available to them 24/7. And here we are now, just rocking and rolling.
All right.
Yeah.
And then you said recently, I also want to touch on, what did you recently, just in addition to having 5 children and a husband, you have a husband in the house too?
Yes. Okay. I could not go. Okay. Speaking of better halves.
We're happy to say at the same time.
But you also had another addition to the family.
Yes, Fitz.
Fitz, could you tell us about Fitz?
Yes. So we've recently added a medical service animal to our household. His name is Fitzgerald Walls. We call him Fitzy Boy.
It's a very amazing name.
Thank you. He is amazing. He went through a year of training to become a task-trained medical service animal. He can smell when the twins' blood sugars drop below 80 or rise above 150. And in the short
I heard
time,
that, but I think that was a legend.
oh my gosh, it is
I
for
say
real.
that for my service animal, but anyway.
Oh.
We take him to the airport all the time.
Oh no. I didn't hear it. La, 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 la. I didn't hear it. But no, yeah, he can smell it, and he's proved it over and over again where the Dexcom is reading that they're fine, that they're within range, and they're not within range. So
Dexcom,
We have issues with it.
yeah.
So that happens to you as well?
Our identical twins are skinny girls, and as you know, the Dexcom reads from the systolic fluid that lies just under the skin.
I did not know it was
So-
systolic fluid. I did not know that.
So if
not
you're
your
just
blood.
if you've hit a muscle, or if you are just a little bit dehydrated that day
That's what
and
happens to
you
me all
are
the
a
time.
skinny or very fit
muscle, right?
individual,
Muscle.
then you are at a much higher risk of Dexcom technical issues and inaccuracies throughout that 10-day period, right?
Well,
And
sometimes
We've
it
had
happens.
certain
There's certain times that it happens to me and it just like goes crazy and I have to keep testing my blood. I have to recalibrate. There was one time I didn't recalibrate for a while and I was like a whole point off than what my Dexcom was telling me.
no, a whole point being like 100
from
points.
100 points, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we've found that depending on
That's 100
what's happening with the twins, it could be as much as 100 points off.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that's terrifying. I mean,
There's some accountability
you
with
guys know.
Dexcom for that.
Yeah. Well, and it's, again, FDA approved, 20%.
Because they promote that you're not supposed to have to break skin anymore after it does. You're not supposed to have to calibrate for the second one.
Right. Right.
And they
Now,
don't give anybody a discount, no matter how famous they are. Crazy.
but yeah, so we have welcomed Fitz into our home. He came to us February 7th, so a little over 60 days ago now, and I cannot tell you how amazing he is. Already,
What kind of dog?
he's an Australian Labradoodle. Yeah. So, and full grown. He's 17 months old, but he's full grown. He's just a little over 20 pounds. So that was the other reason, we went through a very intricate interview process with trainers. We needed a hypoallergenic breed. We have a big family, so we really felt like we needed a smaller sized animal, and one that we felt the twins would be confident handling in the public space, because that's where he does the majority of his work, is in the public space, going to restaurants, or he's been with them in an arcade on a Friday night for at least 3 hours. Lights, sounds, wall-to-wall kids, and he is calm, he is performing, and he is alerting. He is amazing.
What does that look
He's
like?
focused on them and their blood sugars.
What does that look
and
like?
it's just amazing to watch him
What
work.
does that look like when they alert you?
Fitz has been trained, when he alerts, he puts paws on the girls. So if they're standing, it'll look like he's jumping on them, because he'll put paws on their
That'd be
hips
like
or on
that'd
their
be like your
back.
sugar's high or low.
Could be either one. It's the alert
It
is
just
the
means
same.
something's going on that you should check.
Exactly. He like, check your blood sugar, girl. That's what the twins do. They're like, I need to check my. He's saying, check your blood sugar, girl. Yes, they're so funny. Oh my gosh, they're hilarious. But yeah, so check your blood sugar, girl. He puts paws on them, and then they say, let's check. And they both check at the same time, because in this unique situation, he's one medical service animal alerting, and there's 2 type 1s present. He's serving 2 type 1s. Right. So they'll both check their blood sugar on a finger prick. And this was a life adjustment too, because as you know, with Dexcom, you don't have to finger prick very often. You don't have to. So they were on, but you have to if you really want it to
Once a
be.
day you have to.
Exactly. If you really want it to be,
What do you?
if you want to be as accurate as
use
possible,
for
you
your
got to
finger
check
prick?
it.
What do you?
Right now, we just use whatever insurance approves, which is the Vario Plus.
I gotta get you with a
Put you
cooler
up on this
looking one.
drop.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
They
it's
would
one
love that.
drop, and we're friends with the
CEO.
CEO, and he actually got diabetes when he was in his 40s, type 1, and he developed
Adult onset,
this tester that looks cool and makes you cool. It makes it.
Okay, so we got to move around the room.
Yeah, we gotta move.
So
I am Callie Miller, and I have my son Hampton, who is 7, and he was diagnosed with type 1 when he was 2 years old, just a week after his 2nd birthday. And so he is a strong, resilient, fun kid. He's active and living his best life. And I'm so grateful to be his mom. And he does very well. We control his diabetes with the Dexcom and the Omnipod Dash, and we loop. So that is kind of a DIY way to make the two connect.
we're going to talk later about
Yeah, okay. So
that. I need to get loopy.
yeah, you do
we're
need to
gonna
get
get
loopy. I love it.
Dash,
It was
Life is the
parents who
dash.
said we're not waiting for all of these companies to play nice and get along. We know there's a better way, and so they got together and developed a way that I love. We've been on it for many years, and it's improved all along the way, but we feel very comfortable with it.
So the intimidation of hearing it is like, is there any techie? You have to be techie to do this? Because I'm diabetic. I can't be techie and diabetic.
Do you have a phone? an iPhone? That's all you need.
And we're rocking.
Can you answer Paul?
Can you?
Yes. You got it.
Then you got it.
You got it.
can
It's
do
very
that.
simple, and
I
it's
believe you
very.
can do it.
I mean, it looks great. It's not. It doesn't look DIY. It looks very smooth, like any app that you would have on your phone, and it
long
just
as it
brings the
works for
two
me.
together. Yeah, as much as you've shared that technology works for you. You know, Dexcom reads 15 minutes behind all the time, so that's why having
It
an
does?
alert dog. Yes, so that's
What's
why.
the fluid?
It reads your blood sugar
What's
from the
name of
systolic fluid just under the
Systolic
skin.
in 15 minutes. I just learned 2
Yeah.
key things.
Well, so that is part of why, if her daughters were reading at 90 steady
know
and the
that
dog alerted and they were in their 60s, possibly they are trending down, but Dexcom's 15 minutes
not catching
behind.
up.
And
So
so it doesn't catch up. So all of a sudden you're dropping.
Really?
And
Because when I'm low, I'm low. It's not
You can
15
feel
minutes
it?
behind. Well, I'd be
No, sometimes you'll be feeling it before it
Yeah.
drops. Like,
yeah, diabetes is so interesting.
It's so weird.
I
Everyone's
often
different.
say-
It's different for every
No,
person.
it's different every day.
And every day.
And
sometimes-
every day.
Sometimes I
So
sweat,
true.
Sometimes I don't feel it at all. You know, sometimes like if I'm not used to being at, cause I wasn't used to being at 100 or like low or that low. It would feel like a reaction before I would get to 70 or 60. But then there's people I know that could move around. Like Ashley, she can move around on 70. But I'm feeling weak. I could start sweating at 70. But like if I'm smoking, I feels nothing sometimes. I can't feel. But then sometimes sometimes I sweat. Sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
but
really weird.
this is an amazing evolution for him, because used to be like 170 was our normal. Like, let's just try and keep him in 170.
Right.
Let's just try and keep him in 170. That's a normal number.
Right.
Like over 200 is high. Below 120 is
I
low.
was playing around at 300 a couple times a day.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas now
But I would still
he's
be like a
in the
70.
pocket. I've never seen it on his Dexcom where he's in the gray the whole time.
Right.
Time.
And like it's never been like that. Usually it's a roller
And I'm
coaster,
50.
up and down
I've been
and up
doing
and
this since I
down.
was 15, and I just got there. As a diabetic, I could tell you you don't even. I'm not gonna advise this, but like the first 10 years, I was completely irresponsible. But diabetes is a disease that wears you down and it hits you when you're older. But I think if you can get it together about because it takes, once you're, again, when I first found out I was diabetic, I was just happy to be alive. I was 15 and I was like, if I could feel better with a shot, I'm taking that all day. I didn't think there was any end near of how I felt. But I just feel like you can catch up. Like, you don't have to be so perfect. I was banking on that before I got perfect. I was like, you can't have to be so perfect. Like, yeah, because I'm like perfect now compared to what I was before.
Oh yeah, you're doing great.
Because I'm a degenerate. Because I refuse to not enjoy everything that everyone else enjoys. I just can't see myself compromising that way. You know, like if I'm diabetic and I can't have Raquel, I'd have to, you know, I'd still, just because I'm diabetic, I should be able to have all the sweetness in the world. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel. And
He
being
makes cupcakes and
macarons, cupcakes, and
Pizza.
But what people understand is, as a diabetic, I was going to ask you, you actually end up with more sugar than not, because I'm always worried about being low. So my Mike and Ike game is crazy, and I always end up at night because I'm scared of going low, eating a lot of sugar, which makes it hard to lose weight. But you get a lot of sugar in your life, so you don't have to compromise if you can kind of understand it. But it just changes so much. But I could only imagine what was it like being told that your child was diabetic. You know, like what was that one like? Because I'm diabetic and I don't want to hear that.
Right.
Like Ashley sent us a kit, and I don't want to take that shit to see if he's diabetic.
yeah, he
or
has
not.
that. He has the.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
that. I don't want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Feel me?
Yeah.
Like,
We're like, this
My
is
friend was a nurse that came in
hard.
time, and I guess I conveniently missed that she was walking out the door. I was like, dang it, we didn't do the test. But I was like, but yeah, I know that means.
Sergeant Diabetes,
Yeah.
Ashley will make sure you do everything.
Yeah.
She'll have everything for you.
Yeah.
But what was that like?
So I was in St. Louis with the baby and the nanny, and my son was staying with a relative. And at my home, he had constant access to our ice maker, and he would eat ice all throughout the day. And he was thirsty. Well, when he went to stay with the relative, he didn't have access to the water that he was drinking, and so my mother-in-law called my husband and said, "Your son's acting really oddly." And so my husband called
urinating a
me,
lot?
and I said, you need to take him to the doctor, because there was something in me that had started to prepare me for the diagnosis. I nannied 2 little girls growing up that had type 1, and a friend's daughter had just recently gotten diagnosed, and I saw when she posted on social media the symptoms that her daughter had, and I started to think,
You started connecting
I wonder. And so I said, please take him. My husband took him to the pediatrician. She said, oh, he's fine, don't worry about it. He got to the parking lot, called me.
Pediatrician said that?
Yes, she said, toddlers are thirsty. Like, it is totally fine. And so he got to the parking lot, and I said, turn around and go back in, and do not leave until they test him.
Did he test his blood when he said
She
that?
said test
So,
him. You said you
I
test
said,
him.
you
He
have,
said test his blood?
yes, I said,
so you
check
knew
him for
somebody
diabetes.
diabetes.
Yeah,
She said
I
she
said, you
nannied
need
for 2
to.
diabetics.
Oh.
And she recent
Yeah.
friend had just gotten their
Crazy.
And so he went back in. They took his blood. They left. Got a call a little bit later. Actually, I got the call from the doctor, and she said, I'm so sorry. You need to take your son to the emergency room right away. His blood sugar is 590 something. And so I call my husband. We figure out that he's going to go to All Children's in St. Pete. By the time he gets there, he's in the 700s for his blood sugar. And so, that hospital.
Was he acting groggy?
Yeah, he slept the whole way there. And when my husband pulled into the emergency room there, the doctors and the staff came right out to the car and got him out of the car. I mean, they did a great job responding. I jumped on a plane and came back.
So you were there at the diagnosis?
No.
What was that plane ride like?
You know what? I love Jesus, and God put 2 people next to me that talked to me and encouraged me the entire plane ride home, because I think that was the longest trip of my life. I mean, it was agonizing. One of the ladies, actually, she's an attorney in Orlando, and she stood up and asked the whole plane to stay seated so I could get off. So she said, everybody, would you please stay seated? And then the other lady grabbed my stuff, and I had the baby with me, and they ran all the way to my car to get me in the car and help me get my luggage and everything, which was very kind. So but I'll tell you, one of the things is I walked with my 12-week-old onto the ICU of the hospital, and I passed rooms of children who were very sick. They had cancer diagnosis. They had other terrible illnesses. And I kept saying, why is my child on this floor? Like, why are we here? Like, if he has diabetes, like, why? And it didn't hit me until I walked in the room that he was really that sick. Now, the diagnosis is one that we can absolutely handle. And I'm very grateful for that. But it was one of those realizations where I thought, wait, he's not that sick. Like, he shouldn't be here.
Right.
And he was. And he needed to be there. He was that sick at the time. And so we stayed in the hospital. The 12-week-old stayed with me the whole time. They did a great job. But, over time, we really learned that diabetes...
How long did they keep them?
Just 3 days.
And was it at the time, was the method the shot? Or, like, what was the method?
Yes. So they made us go through boot camp before we could get any technology.
Yes.
So they made us for about 6 months before you could get the Dexcom, and then like another 6 months before you could get a pump.
So what was that like, giving a 2-year-old a shot?
You know what? He's a tough kid. Like, he was amazing. Everything was harder
don't
for
care
me.
as much as the adults.
Then yes, it was all. I always say it's more about what you're prepared for. It was way harder for me than I think it was for him. I have the pictures of him showing off when we did put the Dexcom on, and I wanted right away to know how to take care of my child. And so I jumped right in and said, okay, show me how to give the shots. How do I calculate these carbs? What do I need to know? I'm here for it. This is my baby.
Can you imagine life without a Dexcom back then?
Well, that's how we started. I can't. I mean, waking up in the middle of the night to prick the fingers.
It was like diabetes was black and white TV.
Yeah.
Before Dexcom. What are you saying? I'm sorry.
I just wanted to validate. I feel like diabetes, and what we learned right away with Hampton, is that it is an art and not a science. It is. You have to kind of just be patient and flexible and give a lot of grace.
I like that.
Stay nimble.
I love
it's
that.
an art.
I'm surprised I never said that.
He's taking that. He's like, I saw him.
Go repeat it now.
He's like,
my name is Callie Miller. Every time you say it.
Just kidding.
I'm going to be publishing, but I'm going to
It's an art.
Diabetes is
And as much as we want it to be a science, we want it to be black and white. It's not at all. And
Don't you hate a doctor telling you your son or what to do and they're not diabetic? They don't even understand it. They're like, there's no textbook for
They're like, are you doing this? Are you feeding this? Are you doing this? Yes.
right. And so
Okay.
Damon has to sit, and they have nutritionists sit and do it. He just makes me sit. He's like, I'm done with this. I'm too frustrated. You can sit and talk to the person. And they just make it sit. They have a time slot they have to fill. And I just have to sit there and be like, no, we don't do that. No, we don't
But
do
in the
this.
same way,
But
too,
yeah.
with Hampton, we don't restrict his diet. We live a healthy lifestyle.
Yes, right.
But when he goes to birthday parties, he gets the cake.
As long as I know how much insulin
You don't
it
want to
is.
feel. You
You
don't
break
want to
his
feel
skin,
ostracized.
whether
You don't want to
it's
feel different.
Well,
it's the same
and
thing.
for you and for a 2-year-old to now 7-year-old, he has a long life ahead of him. And I don't want him to, as much as possible, I don't want him to resent his diabetes. I don't want him
I don't resent
to.
mine at all.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, we talk about it.
really
He's
don't.
proud of it. He shows off his
That's
technology.
gangster because most people aren't. I like that.
Okay. And we talk about it as like, one of his, like, the way that he was made to be, this is how he's going to impact the world. Like, and it includes that. He's going to do it in many ways.
Yes.
I mean, he's a smart kid. This is just one part of who he is. But he needed that part to be who he was made to be.
Funny
And
how
so,
challenges make you better.
I think so. I think it's made us all better. I mean, I'm far more empathetic as a type 3 caregiver to other moms or to other people. Like, what it has done for me, too, I think it's really improved who I am, has made an impact on me personally.
100%. On that note.
Okay. My name is Courtney Phillips. I am a type 3 for my husband. He got
That's
diagnosed.
Raquel.
Yes, yeah, we have that. It's always nice to me have, like, I'm like, can we go to lunch? Anytime.
Love it.
I mean,
each other.
we were like, who's the other child? She has a child like yours. Yes.
really, yes. No, he got diagnosed when he was 25. So he says he's one of the lucky ones because, like, unlike you at 15, like at 25, he was like, I did a lot of stuff. Like, childhood is hard, like the resentment, and he didn't have that, and so he conquered it, and he is like, he's really good at it, and at managing it, and
Do you do all his insurance?
No, he does all that.
Now, did you meet him before he was diagnosed or
that's what
after?
so I was
Okay.
gonna get into that. I got like sidetracked, but so he got diagnosed 25. We met, but it was before Dexcom and all that. So when we got married, he was still waking up.
Don't feed needles still.
He was still waking up in the middle of the night, checking his blood sugar, pens, like, and all that. And then we got a diabetic dog.
You have one too?
Well, yes, but he's not as like trained. We ended up we got literally like I think it was like 3 months or 6 months later the Dexcom came out, and we also had a baby, and it was like so the training kind of like went downhill. We didn't do like a year training. This guy he kind of gives you, so what he does is like when the dog is pregnant, you mail off your low blood sugars to him, and it's such a cool thing. But when the puppies are born, he starts rubbing the low blood sugar on the bellies of the mom, and so all these puppies, it's only one per litter that can do the diabetic thing, but all these puppies end up associating that smell with their mom and like good things and like all, and so then a couple weeks later he starts putting the scent other places, and he found like the 2 or 3 dogs that like started like going to the scent instead of their mom, and so then that scent, and then he figured out which one was like going to be the more docile and like smart or whatever, and so now we have Sippy, who is Pat's lieutenant.
So sweet.
But he's not like a service dog, but he does still like detect it, and that's the reason we wanted it.
What does it look like when he detects it for you?
He bumps our hand, or Pat's hand.
Yeah, that's like the dog that we saw.
But he doesn't do it that part anymore.
He's retired.
So, that's the thing is like I guess what from this conversation is like when the breeder will tell you like you have to keep up with the training, you have to keep up with the training. He still does it and all that, but it's still, it's anyway, so
That's really
What kind of dog?
it's a Labradoodle.
So is a Labradoodle a dog for
So they say a lab is like one of the
You have a
Poodle
lab.
is the smartest,
You have a lab.
smartest dog, and Lab is the friendliest. And so the combination, or like any kind
That's
of,
probably
but like
hypoallergenic
Poodle is
yeah.
like,
Yeah, and poodles are hypoallergenic. Yeah. But full-size poodles are like huge.
Yeah. And
as
American
you know.
Labs are big too, so
Oh,
it's
yeah.
I
crazy.
want a lab.
I have a yellow lab. He is the best, but
He's the best.
There's a very
So
reputable trainer, I think, out of Utah, I want to say.
Yes, we've talked to him.
Yes, and she is amazing. And she only trains Labradors. She is very adamant. She's like, I will. And some trainers are like that. They like to stick to a certain breed because they know the breed. They know how to train that breed. You know, they get very familiar with them, and then they just stick with that. And she's amazing. She has provided some medical service animals here locally to some families that they're amazing animals.
No, we don't have the sniffing dogs in the hood. I've never ever seen one. I'm like, I thought it
they
was
sniff other things.
I thought it was that's fucked up. I thought it was like a myth. Like I've heard about this dog that can sniff. We saw one guy, but it just seemed like it was so much training. But
He had a what is it called? It's like the gray one with the short tail with the big floppy ears. A
Weinerheimer.
Yes, that dog, and that was his diabetic dog, and then I reached out when my Frenchies were puppies to train them, and there was a trainer in Las Vegas, and that's the time we were living in LA to train them, and we were gonna go through it, but then we.
Doesn't make sense for me. I'm a grown man.
Yeah, we're.
So
Yeah, it has a certain age limit too.
for me, but
Okay, my name is Leah Grieger, and I'm a type 3. My son, Evan, was diagnosed when he was 10 years old, and now he's 12. So we're just over our 2-year mark recently. And we were in a scary situation with him as well. I was very thankful when we found out it was type 1. He was playing competitive soccer and he looked like he was almost drunk on the field, and was always in a bad mood, sleeping, drinking water, and we thought he was just drinking a lot of water because he's so active.
was he urinating a lot?
A lot, but I thought he was just urinating because he was drinking so much water. And my husband, he would always joke. We'd be on the way to the beach, we'd stop 3 times to go to the bathroom, and if you remember on Sanford and Sons, he'd go, "He got the diabetes." But
You watched Sanford and Sons?
my husband did. So my husband would always go,
Your husband's black?
"Diabetes."
Your husband's black?
No.
Oh shit! You watched Sanford and Sons? need to meet your husband.
You would like him.
So we would all make that joke every time we'd stop. I'm like, oh, yeah, stop for heaven again, you know. And he'd.
How long did that
this
go
went
on
on.
for?
It went on for probably longer than we
Like a
we
month?
allowed it, probably a month.
That's what happened with me.
So, like his attitude, like he was just like
Cranky.
upset all the time, cranky. We couldn't figure it out. We almost
was
thought it
10
was
at the
a
time?
psychological
was 10
thing.
at the
Like,
time?
yeah, we were worried that he was depressed.
How did he feel?
We would talk to him. Like I would like keep him out of school on like Mommy Sunday, and try to talk to him. I'm like, how are you feeling? And he's just, I'm fine. You know,
Did he feel sluggish?
He couldn't describe how he felt. He
Right.
felt sluggish, but as a
didn't know that
10-year-old,
was
he couldn't
sluggish.
really
He didn't know that
describe
was
it.
sluggish. Yeah.
So I had a couple of virtual phone calls because it was right during the
Damn,
COVID.
I feel like I caught that being in the
post-COVID.
60s or something.
So I had a virtual call with his school teacher
Virtual?
and asked how he was in school, if he seemed different. She's like, you know, now that you mention it, he doesn't really laugh like the other kids. He doesn't really seem happy. My mind's going to like depression again.
Right.
So then I have a virtual call with a pediatrician. She, you know, asked a lot of great questions. And one of the questions she said was, has he lost weight? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I mean, in my mind, I thought he looked great. I'm like, I don't look like that, you know? And he exercised all the time with soccer. So that night, Brian and Evan came home from soccer practice, and Brian's like, he did it again. You know, he just doesn't want to be there and has bad attitude. And, you know, we got in a big fight. So Evan was sitting on the couch, and he looked awful. He looked miserable. And I got down and I prayed over him. And while I was praying over him, I noticed that his arm looked extra skinny. And I remember the doctor asking me if he lost weight. And they said, Brian, when I was on the phone with the doctor today, she asked if he's lost weight. And I was like, he looks skinny. And he said, wow, now that you say it, everyone at soccer keeps saying, Evan's really shooting up and getting lean. So we put him on the scale. He had dropped, I think it was 8 pounds.
I dropped 40.
It was 8 pounds. Well, this is a kid, so it was 8 pounds
No, yeah,
since
that's a-
October to...
10-year-old with 8 pounds is a lot.
Is a
Yeah, he
lot.
was diagnosed on February 2nd. It was on my mother-in-law's birthday. But so my mind went straight to cancer. I was like, oh my gosh, she has cancer. So I, didn't sleep that night. We took him to the pediatrician's office next morning. Just walked in. We didn't have. And if I would have known, if I would have
Just
looked
tested his
up
blood and
type
you
1
know.
diabetes, I would have
You know, like
probably
that.
taken him to the doctor right away or emergency room.
If my kids, any of my children, I have 5, right? If any of them are drinking too much, and I'm always asking, I test their blood all the
He
time.
also
My
smells
husband
bad.
does the same.
I smell their breath.
How many times did you like prick their fingers when they were
Yeah,
babies?
All of them
Brack
got pricked.
and
My husband
All
did
of
the
them got
same
pricked.
thing, and we still will go get random.
Like,
I don't
I'm
blame
always
you.
on diabetes alert.
Yeah.
But I just feel like AI is going to handle this, but that's just me.
I do.
I just feel like it's going to
He
happen.
always is like, if I'm like, oh, Dusko's drank a lot of water today, he's like, he has. How long has this been going on for? Right? And it was like, do we need
The
to test him?
questions
Yes,
start.
yeah. It's like,
Serious.
But we got really
serious,
lucky.
though,
I mean, we were probably 48 hours from him going into DKA. His blood sugar was 741 when they
Like,
called
But still
us.
moving
cement.
around.
And we were at lunch, and she calls, gives us the news. We're at lunch. She's drinking a Sprite. She's like,
Oh, shit.
no.
That's like drinking Kool-Aid.
She's like,
Yeah.
go to the hospital right now. Don't go home. Go to the hospital right now. So we did. It was awful. It was really hard. It was I'm a breast cancer survivor, and that was a harder diagnosis for me than my diagnosis. But we got through it, and with people like Callie and Ashley and Courtney. Callie was a lifesaver one time. Some of our Dexcoms, like, I didn't have any spare at the beach, and Brian was in Lakeland, and she gave Brian extra and brought him to me, and then Ashley was a lifesaver right at the beginning. We got lucky. Our doctor, Brian and Evan, we were in the hospital on Tuesday. They had tickets to go to the Super Bowl that Sunday. And he's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this? Like,
Get to the Super Bowl.
so they gave him,
Figure it out real fast.
they had like a Libre
the
because
Sugar
they
Bowl.
have like extra, supplies. So they gave him a Libre so he'd have that. And they went to the Super Bowl, and he's funny story now though. He's like, yeah, we scanned it, it went off, and it was like 85. He was like, I run to the bar, and I'm like, I need orange juice. So
And now you love an 85.
Yeah,
You ride that out.
So I like new to it that he freaked out.
I know.
But then that like a week later, we still had the Libre, and we were going on a boat ride to my in-laws' house. They live a few doors down, and Evan had his Libre, like I don't remember what it's called, the little thing that you know, like the PDM or whatever it is,
yeah.
something that you check the number with. So he had that in his hoodie, and he jumped on the boat. When he jumped on the boat, it went flying out. And I hadn't met Ashley yet, but I knew her through a mutual friend, and something just told me to call her. And I called, and I was like, this just happened. And she, don't worry, I have extra supplies. She met me in Bartow. Like, we met somewhere. She gave me all of her supplies. And it's just, you know, this community is the best
You have to have
community.
a community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question. What's his favorite candy to bring his sugar?
He does gummies.
I do Mike and Ike's.
Yeah.
What's your husband's?
Ice cream. He likes
But what if he's not walking around with ice cream? Can't put ice cream in the purse. So.
I mean, like
You know,
granola bars. He's always got
granola bars. That's slow acting.
Yeah.
What's his sugar game like? Pause. What do you? What, so,
he's really good.
so
I mean, he's
so
like
when I leave the
like
house,
it's hard
I've
for
never
me.
seen him eat anything.
He's like,
does he go low at all?
oh yes.
What's
he
his
goes
A1?
low.
What's his A1?
6'4",
God
6'5".
damn, I'm feeling
He's
like a
he's a
clown.
champ.
Yes,
Six anything,
so,
y'all.
Hampton,
Go,
5'9".
go.
He's so good. It's,
Woo! Yeah, love it.
5.9.
How old?
7.
A 7-year-old. Oh,
And he's
that means that means
80%.
you're on there doing
No.
it.
No.
How does he do it?
Oh, well, yes, we have to do it for him. Like, admit
But
it,
that-
like, count his carbs and give him the insulin, but it's the technology that intervenes.
Can you imagine
Yeah.
if there wasn't technology?
No.
I was born.
She has
when
just
there wasn't.
validated looping.
Yeah, looping. That's the looping game. Lupe Fiasco.
Well, what's nice about that is
But what's
he's
it- what's-
5.9, but he
5'9".
is...
That means he's averaging like an 85.
Well, but his time in range is like 85%.
But what's he averaging?
Like average blood sugar. I think it's like 110.
Do you do the clarity?
Yeah. You
So
look it up.
because I look,
Yeah, we
at,
should-
I look at my clarity all day. Like you know how people look. You know how people look at so much money's in the bank. I look at my clarity.
Should everybody
to see.
pull out their clarity?
Yeah, pull your clarity out. Let's get your clarity out. Pull out your clarity. Let me tell you some clarity.
Well, while we're looking at stats, the twins,
I have the clarity, just
they
so-
love.
So this is my after my A1 is one, and this is I've only been using the
That's
thing
great.
Good job.
for degenerate. Yeah, I'm doing
Here's
pretty
what I'll
good.
say. As
But
I
that's
learned
90
right
days.
away,
90
we don't
days.
number
Show-
shame. Like, people can
But
throw
show
out their
yourself.
numbers,
They can't number
but
shame.
everybody's doing the best they can do.
But look at this
and
one.
that's
The
totally
month.
fine.
Look at the month.
Good job.
So you're
No,
headed in the
I
right
do
direction.
number shame. I do.
You do number shame?
Yeah, because if someone like the people that I know that aren't like really checking they're like ridiculous with it. So I'll be like, yo, it's irresponsible for you to be like wanting. That's the average.
No,
No,
the
that's
normal.
what he's right now.
Oh, it's right now. So
Yeah.
you check. Yeah. Rocky turned mine off because she didn't want to hear the alarms anymore.
I know, I was
No,
going to
it's okay,
say.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. So what's his favorite candy? I got off subject.
Anything sweet, any candy would
But what
be
do you
his
walk
favorite.
around with him?
Gummy worms,
Gummy-
sour,
it's the gummy
regular.
worms?
But he is great about like the squeeze pack yogurts too. So in the middle of the
the
night,
cat-
I just squeeze the yogurt in
has
his
yogurt
mouth.
too.
If
Does
he
it
goes
bring it
low.
up? It brings
oh
it up?
yeah, and it's good because it balances fat with sugar.
I think that's what Pat
I love
Yeah.
this
like his,
conversation.
his
yeah.
yogurt.
So, like
I was
those
gonna say yogurt, but I didn't know.
Go-Go.
Like that was.
Banana
I mean-
yogurts were his like staple
And
for
that gets him
soda.
right quick.
Oh yeah.
It gives them, but it has
No,
the fat in
I don't
it.
think
that-
it's real. I think it's. Is it slower than like a gummy?
like a chocolate.
If I well think about like
and like
How low it
balance
is.
it,
Yeah.
like
But
it
no,
helps
I-
it stay.
but I
Prevents a
feel-
spike,
Yeah.
but it helps bring it up quickly.
Yes.
That's
I
what.
mean,
Yeah,
let's
that's
just
why.
spike
he-
it.
Because the
I
sugar
want
is the
some quick
sugar in there.
sugar.
Because
Yeah.
it has quick
Don't give me
sugar
no
in there.
chocolate. I'll eat a potato chip so that
It
I
has-
can have a carb to ride with
what I
later.
think that-
That could
Which
kick in later.
I'm gonna have to ask which one.
With gummy worm?
No, which yogurt? I'm curious.
Pat does the
Go-Go.
Noosa, Noosa, like vanilla yogurt.
Oh yeah.
And
See,
that's,
mine don't have to be
like-
His
refrigerated.
name's Pat.
Oh, that's nice.
So Pat walks around with a refrigerator.
No, that's just at night.
That has no a freezer. He has ice cream.
He might have a little freezer or something. You never know.
A mini freezer in the car. Why not?
There's a cow outside.
There's a cow outside in your backyard.
So,
yes.
Yeah, so I do number shame. I'm sorry. But What was your favorite? I mean, what's
The
your
twins,
favorite? Yeah.
they carry around actually the little juicy juice boxes. Okay, so they carry that around. They're exactly 15 carbs.
They don't be hungry? Because when my blood is sugar's low, I'm starving.
They
I need to
also
eat.
carry around the just pack of gummies. Gummies are the
Gummies is
go-to.
What gummies?
common.
What kind of gummies?
Oh, I make them get like the more natural, like organic
Which ones?
kinds.
Yeah.
But if they had their choice, they'd be getting those awful, like you know, what are those? The gold, the one in the gold
the
packaging, like the
The gummy bear ones?
gummy bears,
Yeah,
like
the
the
gummy
actual.
Harbor.
Yeah,
Yes.
Harbor ones.
Oh my gosh.
Super, he hates those because they're too
Oh
chewy.
yeah, no,
They're
no,
so-
no. We like those
those-
little.
They
those
like
are teeth
green
grabbers.
bag.
Yeah.
Those are
What
teeth
are
grabbers.
It's like a gold looking bag.
No, the ones we like.
I was gonna say, tell
real
me
good.
you're a type 3 without telling me you're a type 3. If there's any way, for me, I have a pen and I got Mike and Ike's in my bag.
Always.
Oh, mine's
Always.
full of gummies.
Yeah.
And like an emergency.
You always know if they're a type 3 if there's sugar in the
Yeah.
pocketbook.
Is there anything for you?
Gummies.
Gummies in your purse? Yep.
Yeah,
In-
gummies.
Yep.
I have
In your
all
purse?
kinds of sweets in there that I
purse.
don't like. You know, that's the tell. Is like I don't eat any of it, and my bag's full of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Smarties, gummies.
All in your bag right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, not in right now, but yeah, in the bag when I'm out with them
Yes.
all the time.
Got it.
All the time.
So yeah, I could tell you how the future is. They'll be strong and better than most because they have such a discipline. So you keep a certain degree of discipline because most people don't have to worry about shit like that 24 hours in a day. So you find like you end up in bed if you're taking care of yourself. You care about your diabetes. You have so much discipline. You have you work out. You do all the things that regular people don't think they have to do. You pay attention to things, and you also attract people that care about you. So overall, diabetes is a good thing.
Oh, absolutely.
There's a yin and a yang of everything. I tend to look at the light side, not the dark. And everything that's happened to me from diabetes has helped me and helped other people. And I do think there's a cure in sight. There's always there's this, that, stem cells, whatever. But what I can say is since I've been diabetic, I'm 15, I'm 50 now. So was that like 30 years, 35 years? It was a lot different. These evolutions, like the Dexcom was like a game changer for me. Like imagine life without a Dexcom, without a pump, with a dope fiend needle, not the pen.
You always used to go, twice a day to get?
Well, that's what you were told. Like you would do a mix twice a day. And that was it. That was the only shot you took. And that's why I was like, there was 10 years that I was a bit irresponsible in technology and, the doctors didn't know too much. But it's rapidly moving. And I do think the AI is going to help it out or some stem cell or some shit has got to work. There's some things that do work, but I don't know. It's not the worst life in the world if you're handling it. But what I was going to do was... being an only type 1 diabetic, I felt like I might want to say something behind my back or something that, only type 3s can talk about. So I was going to give y'all some girl time to talk, some woman time, some beautiful woman time. Gorgeous. You know what I'm saying? I'm like distracted. Mad everyone's married in here. It's like ridiculous. Good thing I'm married. But I'm going to give y'all some time to just talk about whatever you want to talk about. And I'm gonna take the wine bottle, unless you take one. And y'all just kick it. Anybody want a little more wine?
Okay, just one
Just
drop.
one more. You're driving.
Just a drop. That's it. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
That
You
was
good?
just the taste.
I'm good, thank you.
So, you guys are superheroes, and I appreciate all of you. And I thought only black people had diabetes. So it's a whole new thing. I was like, what the fuck? They get it too? Oh shit. And it's just all similar stuff. Like we're all one people. It's great. So, I look forward. I'd like to continue this conversation with each and every one of you as much as possible. Because, a lot of people don't know how to deal with these things and don't have the wherewithal. And the last thing I wanted to ask you is how much does it cost to be a diabetic? Or to take care of a diabetic? It's crazy, right? It's crazy.
However much it takes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
No, it costs some.
That's
You
how
gotta
much
have a
it
couple
costs. However
dollars.
much it takes.
You gotta have a couple of dollars.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Like when I first met Damon, he was going through different insurances, and I remember going
I
and
didn't even know.
picking up, having to pay full price for pens and even test strips. and everything, and being like how much this costs, like
Test strip
without
costs $1.
$1 per test
One
strip.
test, this was like 3 years ago.
yeah.
Test strip costs $1.
Yeah, $50
And it
for
doesn't have to.
a 50 pack. $50 for a 50 pack for a test strip.
crazy.
And now like our friends, like One Drop, they have a subscription. You can get all you want for a certain amount of money a month, and you get.
And we were also able to get laws passed in
Yes.
certain places, like telling a senator or something like.
But it's like calls like today, like that I got from his doctor. Oh, you're and we're paying the top tier of insurance, and they're like, well, they denied you for vials. You have to take pens, and I was like, I can't.
They were like, you want us to? She was like, you want me to have to take it out of a pen
In order to put it in a
They wanna
Dexcom.
prove
I was
that
like,
it's your child. I didn't feel like
yes,
arguing.
and I was
I'm
like,
not getting in this
it's
right
just
now.
a waste of plastic, a waste of trash, a waste of all this other stuff.
true.
Just for me to put it, I was like, just give me a vial that I can use for a bunch of doses for him. And also, he's using more. What I had to get used to is with the Dexcom is that he didn't have the long lasting anymore. It was just like
The Omnipod.
yeah, it was just
short-acting.
the short acting. The whole so his insulin amount went up because I'm not using the long lasting to suppress it down. So I was like, I have to get more. Now you have to approve for more pens for me because there's a smaller amount in the pen there is in the vials.
So you're not on a pump?
He's on.
I'm on.
He's on
Okay.
the Dexcom.
She means Omnipod.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
The
she's on the
Omnipod.
Omnipod. Yeah.
Well,
He's
how
on the-
high did you put that on your belly?
Rocky put.
See,
Let me see.
it's my fault. See,
Well, you've never gone that high before.
Yeah.
Yeah, my son will only do it like right here in his belly and the buttocks, but like I didn't know you could go that high.
This is the good money
well,
for me.
also I found too, like you were saying about hitting different things. If you hit scar tissue, it also gives you weird
There's,
readings.
and y'all are poking yourself so
It's-
many
it's-
times. There's probably
We've
so
been
many
using this for how many
scar
years?
tissues.
6 years now? How long has the Dexcom? And I remember just applying for insurance to get the Dexcom took me like 3 months.
Your insurance fight for me is a daily thing. It's always something because we
And then
move around a lot. so
going
you
to the
always
foot
have to
doctor,
figure-
going
Yeah.
to the eye doctor. Recently,
Oh,
he
yeah,
had
I
to
went through
get
it.
recently we did cataract surgery to
So
do.
this is what happened. So what happened was my lens was so cloudy I didn't know it. And you have to look in there to see what's going on.
Yeah.
That I had to get. They told me I had cataracts, so they had to clear that up. So they cleared that up. But you
Change
lose
the
your-
game on
but-
seeing.
Yeah, this way, but I can't look at a fucking phone. You know.
So
what
when
I'm
they
saying?
put the lens for cataracts,
tell
it's
me
either
that when
you
I
get
take
far
I
or
can't
you get near or
focus.
far.
Okay.
You can't pick.
I can't
Oh,
focus.
I see.
Yeah, so I had to give up one, and I was like, well,
Those glasses.
he's gonna
all
have
day.
to wear glasses to see his phone.
But I look at my phone more than I look at anything else.
Okay, well, my bad.
We all do.
But your
Yeah,
point,
we
your
do.
conversation.
What do you need a phone for? You don't need
But
a
to your
phone.
point about the insurance, the other battle we've had not only is financial, is that every year they can change their preferred
Absolutely.
insulin, their
We've been through
preferred
that
test strips.
rigmarole.
There, so all of a
yes.
sudden, we had major fights because all of a sudden everything that the doctor was writing, every prescription, and now it's not just a pharmacy; it's a fulfillment center. Like, I mean, I got a package of the Omnipod Dash pumps the other day, and it came from Amazon. And I was like, what in the world? Like,
I
but
just saw
through the
that the
distributor,
other
and I
day.
was like, okay. But then you have to be able to find the extra pharmacies and the extra, medical device companies, depending on how, or PBMs, like depending on how they want to send the prescription.
Yes.
And so it is so difficult. I worked in healthcare, and I have often said, I mean, I worked in with a major Medicaid, Medicare organization, and I'm familiar with all of the terms. And I thought, this is so difficult for me to navigate. How do other people do it?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, how in the world?
Yeah.
You'd give up. You'd feel so discouraged.
Yeah, and but we have the drive to keep going. But other people, people don't have this patience to keep going.
Not knowing what all the acronyms
I
are.
wouldn't have the
you
patience
have to talk
for
to this
myself.
person, you have to, and I'm like,
But she has the patience for me because she
so hard.
You gotta love somebody.
I love how when you call the health insurance and the rep on the other line, you have to tell them what they need to do because
course.
they have no idea.
Yes,
No
of course.
idea.
You have to tell them, and they're like, "And what is what did you said? Continuous gate code mechanism?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
the continuous glucose monitor."
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it's just amazing. They have no idea. So you have to become the expert
Absolutely.
on everything.
Yeah.
Because when you call into your health insurance company, they have no idea what you have or what you need.
Exactly.
They have no idea. When the twins were first diagnosed, they were sending us type 2 diabetes material
Oh my gosh.
and suggestions on
Losing
how
weight.
to lose weight,
And you're like, I
improve
think that-
Amelia's diet. I was so tempted to take a picture of my skinny little girl and send it to them,
Yeah.
right direct in the mail,
Yeah.
you know? And it was, but you know, you let those things go and you just adapt and you have to
Yeah.
become the expert and the advocate, and you guys know all about that. I mean, but that's the life of
Yeah.
a
Thinking
type
about
3 or type 1.
a caregiver to a spouse, it is different than a child, though, I think. Because I imagine, do you ever feel like it's hard to know how to help or how to be a part of it?
Yeah, that's
Because, yeah, I mean, especially
When
like
you don't, yeah, for sure.
you want to help, but sometimes other than calling insurance, you know that it's an adult with their own battle that you don't know how it feels. I think about that with Hampton.
Yeah.
Like, I don't actually know how this feels for him, but I think for a spouse that would be really challenging to know how to help
Yeah.
them carry this burden.
Well,
Just the
I can
other-
tell you this. Rocky used to give me oatmeal and bananas. And when we went to the doctor, they were like, oatmeal and
they said
bananas are
that.
the two worst things you can give a diabetic. So,
And rice.
And rice.
Oatmeal's
So all the shit that she was like, you know. So,
Sorry.
But I don't mind. I know she was trying her best. You know,
Yes.
it didn't matter. It didn't bother me so much. But it is like she tries sometimes really hard to help and not understand. In the beginning, especially.
Well, the
No
doctor
one's
said
ever going to
you have
know
to-
your body.
It's like I'm.
Yeah.
I
Well,
she
the
has to get
doctor
to
told
know
me
so
that
well to understand.
diabetics have, because of the insulin, they have a higher chance of higher cholesterol. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, let's do oatmeal, let's do bananas, let's do this stuff for cholesterol.
But
But
I was just like pissing every place now.
no,
You know what I'm saying?
but his sugar is just like, you know, oatmeal, you know, like why we love oatmeal is because it gives you constant energy. But those energy spikes are unable to be calculated for everybody else that's that's diabetic.
Right.
Like you, all of a sudden it'll
Beautiful.
it'll shoot it.
Beautiful.
You see that line? You see that
That's a tight
line?
line. That's a tight line.
That's a tight
It didn't
line.
used to look like that.
I know.
It used to look like a
It's
roller coaster.
lightning and it was like ground.
We still have days like that, too.
Yeah.
There's days
Oh,
where you know you have
absolutely.
to get a handle on things because when we have to take it off, when I take the pump off or the what you call it, the pod, or when I have to remove my Dexcom, it throws me off because I'm reckless. I'm definitely degenerate.
We found like so we
To be able
don't
to do that, like you can actually deal with this and live a normal life. You really could, especially with the innovations that are happening. And I can't imagine what it's going to look like in 10 years.
Damon can tell like the type of ingredients a restaurant will use by what his blood sugar is if they have a lot of
Like
preservatives in the food.
Or
He said
every
he
food is terrible.
yeah, it's super salty, super high preservatives. He can tell because the insulin just won't react. It just won't hit it.
That's interesting.
It just
I mean,
and
everything
for
goes
me-
really high on when we're on the plane.
yeah,
Yeah,
it just it's because it has high preservatives
Nah,
and they're
eat two
in the food,
meatballs
so you
and shit,
just
and I'll be done
it's
by
like
10
food that's like coated in like a material that can't
Preservatives and like
penetrate.
The
So
better your food is, the better it is for you, or the process. But me becoming a vegetarian, like all of those things help everything that's going on in my body.
That's great.
It's all because of her. She did it all. Everything's her. So we've been talking for an hour. I love this. We could talk for days and weeks. We should go somewhere and talk for a long time.
Somewhere tropical.
yes.
Yeah.
Go on the beach.
With a hammock,
Hammock,
margarita.
all of that.
Ooh, mojito. I
We
could go
actually have
for a
that at the
mojito.
house right now. A hammock, mojito, and some water. But I think these conversations are important, and I'd like to continue them and tell more stories. You guys are a cool clique. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So you know what's crazy is, you know, because we were working with a Frezza for a little while, a long time actually. I was using it, and the CEO Mike Costenga, you know, he was drinking beers and eating steaks and all this other shit, and I was like, yo, you need to relax, bro. You're gonna get diabetes, and he caught it. So the CEO of it actually ended up getting it.
Type 1?
Type 1.
No way.
And I remember like he was like trying to just like understand what it was like to be a diabetic.
Yeah,
and
he would
was
get the
getting the
Dexcom.
Wearing
Dexcom,
it,
and I was trying to explain certain things to him, but it actually happened. Yeah. Well, like 1 out of every like 9 people is supposed to be diabetic in the near future, the next 10 years. And it's because of the meat, the GMO, all the preservatives and all that. At least type 2. Type 1 is the gangster kind. You know? But I really, you know, because you got to, before the thing, I used to just stab myself in the leg in front of everybody. And what I noticed was everyone I know that's a celebrity that's diabetic would try to hide it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
that's
I'd run up on Jonas Brothers or whatever, and I'd be like, yo, what's your A1? And he'd act funny, but he actually started to come out, or like Holly Berry and all that. But I honestly, you know, it gives me confidence.
Do you guys get frustrated when people say, "Oh, just work out if they do this and this and
No,
this"?
they're not there. Like in my world, they say that you
Yes.
could. You
I
could-
was wondering.
I could cure you with
Yes.
tea.
Like
and
early
all sorts of dumb
diagnosis,
shit.
people would, you know,
Yeah.
give recommendations, and you're like,
it's one of my husband's
Yeah.
biggest pet peeves is if someone tells him you should not be eating that ice
Oh.
cream or cake. Like
yeah.
And they'll know, but I'm
that's
a
not
30
what
right
I-
now. I
yeah.
need the
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
or it's
That
just
happens a
not
lot.
the same thing.
One of my twins, one of their favorite, they like to save little memes, you know, that make them laugh about type 1 diabetes. And one of their favorite little memes is, tell me I can't eat that one more time and I'm going to diabeat you.
The twins are funny.
They're hilarious. Well, and
Hey, wait, who watches Sanford and Son again? Who watched it too?
I did watch it when I was little, but I was really young.
I did too. So this has been beautiful, and I think we should continue the conversation. It's important.
What's one thing that if you were to meet a mom that's just recently diagnosed, or a spouse that you met that their husband was recently diagnosed, or their partner was recently diagnosed, what's like one thing that you would tell them?
It gets easier.
Gets easier.
I mean, pretty much the same thing. It's going to be okay, and it's not always going to be perfect.
Yeah. You learn to live with it.
Yeah.
I mean, a very practical one is get the technology as fast as possible.
Oh.
Because you don't have to wait. I learned after we had boot camp
Yeah.
that you can get the technology that you need to feel confident
Yeah.
in protecting your child or protecting your loved one. Because that really is a huge boost of confidence when you're navigating something that's so unknown, to be able to have that transparency, at least with the Dexcom or a Libre. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
what you
that's
told me
really,
right away.
I think I did tell you
Absolutely.
that right away.
to that
Dexcom is everything.
to that same vein, I tell parents knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And you are your child's advocate.
Yeah.
And it's take the time, read up on everything you can read up on, you know, ask for the information from the doctor, ask for the pamphlets, ask questions, talk to dietitians, you know, read the information that's coming out from these medical pump, you know,
Yeah.
press releases and, you know, the technology that's coming out there. Become the expert
Yeah.
because no one else is going to do that for you.
Yeah.
And it is an art and to find what works for your child, you know, because I've talked with some parents who tell me that, you know, if they give their child 15 carbs of juice to treat a low, that they'll be shooting up over 250 in less than 15 minutes. And there's some parents where they'll
Ours does that
tell me,
sometimes.
they'll
That
say,
happens to me all
we
the
give we give
Yeah,
our
ours does
we
that
give our
sometimes.
kid 3 gummies and it gets them back into range, you know. And
I
sometimes
try and do that in the middle of the night for him. Yeah. But then he's like so hungry.
That's what we do. That's 7.
takes-
7 carbs.
It takes 15
But-
minutes to get over being low, no matter what you got in your body.
yeah,
So in that moment, them 15 minutes, you're just starving. So
exactly.
you just keep eating and eating and eating until you actually see your blood sugar at the right
And
spot.
then it's like too late.
Then after that, the shit kicks in.
And then-
It's too late.
and you have to like give yourself another like if
Yeah.
I'm going. That's those days where you're out of control, where you're like low high, low high, low high, low high,
Chasing it.
chasing it all day and double stacking and shit.
And then there's some who are
part
just
of the game.
hypoglycemic unawares. Like my daughter, she doesn't feel it. She doesn't feel it until she's dropping below 40.
Really?
And that's the other reason why.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the other reason why we
Yeah, but by 50,
obtained
60,
the
you're
medical
low.
service animal
Yeah.
because she's dropping and she's getting ready to pass out.
So Fitz is the same
know?
with both daughters. Like he's trained for both. Like,
He alerts to both of them.
and then is he a
Now-
family dog? Like he.
At home, he plays.
Yeah.
You know, he is our pet. He's a member of our family.
Yeah.
You know, but there's obvious rules. It's a lifestyle. You know, when the trainers brought him to us, they gave us kind of a boot camp over 48 hours and, you know, showed us, okay, this is, you know, what an alert is. And this is, you know, his routine throughout the day. And, you know, he's still a pet. He still has to be fed and taken out for walks and, you know,
Yeah.
but
Do they take care of
he's-
him, or do you guys have to feed him and walk him?
Oh, well, that's part of the process too. I mean, they are 14 going on 15, and praise the Lord, they're girls that are very responsible, and part of that is because they were diagnosed with diabetes at a young age. I think it kind of forced them to become more mature. It also increased their faith. You know, they are faithful to the Lord. They love the Lord first, and then, you know, everything else falls into place after that. They live a very disciplined life, but they're also teenagers. You know, I'm a broken record. You know, I'm just like, did you pack your meter? Yes, I packed my meter. Did you look to see if you packed your meter? And then they look and I'm gonna go get it because it's not in their bag. You know, so you know we're in a big, at this stage of life with the twins, we're in this big and slow transition phase where I begin to let go, and they begin to take on more. And for a type 3, a mom caregiver, that is probably one of the most slow and torturous processes
Yeah.
I've ever been through.
Did you feel like?
And it's just the beginning. We're not even anywhere near the end.
Did you feel like it was necessary to stop your career because of the diabetes, or is it just because you didn't like your career?
Oh, no, I loved where I was. I loved it. I mean, I knew from the time I was a teenager that I wanted to be an editor, and an editor specifically of magazines.
Have you seen her magazine?
And-
Her magazine?
No, I haven't showed her.
And when
I'm gonna show you.
as managing editor of Central Florida Media Group, I was responsible for 7 magazines, you know, and over 30 social media marketing clients. And I was, you know, we were cooking with grease, me and my publisher. We were like, man, let's do it. Let's keep going, you know. We were doing the
You're
thing.
doing print magazines?
Print magazines, yeah. Central Florida Ag News and Central Florida Health News are their flagship consumer publications. Fun story for you. Before Amelia was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, I did a feature story on Bryce's Buddies, the nonprofit juvenile organization that Brandy Duncan, the realtor, headed up years ago when her son Bryce was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. I did the interview, I talked with them, I met a lot of other moms and their kids with type 1 diabetes. And fast forward a couple years later, I'm driving on the way home from work from an event, and I'm putting all the pieces together, just like you did with your son. I'm putting all the pieces together. And I remember clear as day calling my husband on the way home from this event and saying, I think Amelia has type 1 diabetes. I don't want to panic. I think I'm just overreacting, but I need peace of mind. We need to take her into the doctor. We need to have her tested because I think she has it. And he said, okay, we'll take her in tomorrow. Took her in. I said, I need a urine sample. I need a blood sugar sample. And of course, doctor was great. They're like, yep, we'll do it. And sure enough, yeah, her blood sugar fasting was over 500.
Yeah. Wow. I was gonna tell people all the time. I'm like, they're like, well, maybe if you just ate different, you wouldn't have to take as much insulin. I'm like,
Yeah, no, no, and
it doesn't work that way.
She's not diabetic or type 3. You just don't know.
yeah.
You wouldn't
So
say that if you were like really that.
I tell parents,
easy,
knowledge
it's
is
not.
power. You know, you are your child's best advocate.
Absolutely, I agree. For me, it's are you on Dexcom? Number 1 first question. Do you have a Dexcom?
Yeah.
And a lot of people is like no, and like you know, so one of my friends that's coming out, her mother was a diabetic, El Boogie's mom,
Yeah.
and she's like, oh, she's always like, you know, her blood sugar's always high. How often do you prick? Oh, she pricks it maybe once a week.
We had to make her.
But now I look at like her mom's Instagram feed, and she's posting up all of her like highs or
That's kinda
of her
changed the
lows.
game.
It like
whole
it really
thing is different.
changed her as a person. And I was like, and now I'm like, how come you don't have your mom's like how come you don't have your mom's
Yeah,
numbers?
yeah.
Like so you can like tell her. But you know, Damon likes to do the scare tactic to like people that don't have these things, to the Dexcoms or certain things. There's certain keywords that he can say to different people.
Yeah, for dudes, it's impotence. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to get your blood flow together.
It won't work.
No sex.
My favorite line, we went to the American Diabetes Association in Chicago, like summit when we were with Freza, and this one young kid, he was like maybe 14, 15, and he's walking around with a Gatorade and a candy bar, and he's got diabetes, right? And Damon's like, what's your blood sugar right now? And he's like, oh, what did he say? He was like, it's high. And he's like, well, why do you have a Gatorade? First of all, why do you have a Gatorade? And why do you have a Snicker bar? Like, what? He's like, second question, do you like girls? And he was like, yeah. And he's like, well, you know, that won't work if you don't get your shit together.
What did he do with his
He
Gatorade
was
and
like,
Snickers?
the dad came over and like gave him the biggest hug. He's like, thank you. I think you got to him. I think you got to him.
That's
It was done.
Love it.
And so, yeah, I always thought that was great because and then Damon always says to certain people, he says, once something starts going, like a toe, a foot, it's an you can't fix it. You can't go back. Your body is now deteriorating. So you have to prevent it now before that starts happening, because that's
why I'm never ashamed.
a bad cycle.
It's not like yoga. It's like
You
you got to
just
get your rap together.
Meet my
because-
son. Have a heart with him. We're dealing with some like preteen stuff right now.
Yeah,
that-
Y'all are in the same thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Oh yeah, heart to heart.
he's like he scares him into it because it's reality. It's
Yeah.
like if you can't be too nice to something that can be tragic.
when we
So
Just when something doesn't hit you till later,
yeah,
you know, like everyone else, they'll act like it
It's a
can't
slow-
happen to them until. But it's like it ain't. When diabetes wears something down, you can't fix it.
yeah.
So you have to be very preventive about things.
And so I always call him like the most like unscheduled, super like organized person. Like Damon could be like high drunk, but he's always constantly been testing his blood sugar. I mean, I would go through that 50 pack like in 3 days, because he would just be constantly 5 days a week. I would go through 50 test strips, and he had no problem with testing his blood sugar and like doing it in front of people. And you know, I always talk to Ashley. I was like, what is funny things that people say to you? Like, I've had some people be like, oh my god, is he doing heroin? Because he's taking like a shot of like insulin in front of everyone. And they're like, oh my god. And Ashley told me a funny story that she left like a needle or something in the hotel room, and they like pulled her to the side and like tried to like get her to kick out, and she was like, this is my diabetes supplies. Like, what? Like, everybody thinks the most extreme, but like
yeah, you get the odd looks when you
Damon
have to.
looks forward to people. He does it like right in front of people for them to be like, what's happening? And then another really funny story I want to say is that so when Fiasp and Traceba came out,
Oh yeah, that's right.
they their pens were the dark blue, but the only thing that was different between them was like the color of the button at the top.
One was
Yeah,
red and the other
one was red and
One was green.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had just gotten them. So I think we had the Fiasp for a long time, and we just gotten the Traceba. So he took
I took the wrong one.
30 units,
30
of
units
the
of the
fast acting.
Oh no,
Oh no.
Let's say
that was a rough night.
that was a day.
happened?
That
Did
was
you
an
just have to,
interesting
like-
day.
Did you have like a shot, or did you like down like?
I ate pancakes.
We went.
I ate
He
all
drank
day.
like a gallon of orange juice, probably.
I drank a lot of orange juice. It was like we had pancakes, syrup.
You see, fun fact
He ate
for you:
everything he wanted
And everything
to.
orange
worked out.
juice does not bring my twins' blood sugar up. It does not. There's no spike with orange juice with my twins. They can have, now if they have it uncovered, eventually their blood sugar is going to come up. Yes. But if they bolus for the orange juice, no spike, none whatsoever for them.
You know what? It only
So if
works,
we want a slow rise, we give them orange juice.
it only works for me when I'm
yeah.
like it doesn't. When I just drink random orange juice, it doesn't go up. But when I'm having a low and I guzzle, it makes me feel better.
Yeah. And I
It doesn't
have
go
to,
up, but it doesn't really go. It's not the illest thing to make it go up. That's why Juice liquid doesn't help me that much.
Really?
It could, but it doesn't feel like it does because it doesn't make me feel like I'm eating anything. I need to
Gotcha.
feel full.
Okay.
Like I wish I could describe to you what it feels like
I wish I could
with
know.
a reaction.
Yes.
For a
I
second.
wish I could for like
It's like
for a day like feel
yeah,
it.
just-
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Don't wish it too hard, but
I know.
Oh.
You know what?
You know, you
It's
just
nice though.
like,
Like, see that you
gosh, like-
could feel what he feels.
Yeah.
See,
I
as
felt that way
women,
about smoking
let me
crack
say
when
it.
I was young, when I was
I
so
know.
drunk,
Well,
I'm
you
like,
see them and they're
wish I
just
could smoke
sweating and
crack.
I think
like-
that's a woman thing because as women we care about that so much.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
ever seen like a man like go through a period cramp? The sensors on Instagram.
No, but I feel
Like the pregnancy with the watermelon. And
It's amazing. I will DM you. I will send you guys all the meme today. But it's like they have 4 dudes and they put like electronic pulses for like
I
period
would love to do
cramps.
that to my husband.
Oh no, it's labor pains.
Yeah,
It
labor
was
pains.
the
That
best
would be a
video
funny
I've ever
podcast.
seen. But yes, but yeah. So as women, we care to learn about that, but couldn't.
you don't want it. But you want to see how it feels.
I just look like, yeah, you
I
know.
let like Evan like prick my finger
Like
sometimes.
dope. I'm scared. I'm
yes,
Yes.
I let the twins
Yeah.
prick my
Yeah.
finger. Yeah.
I can't do it. Like if he's like whining about me
Yeah.
wanting to prick something, it's like prick mine, and then
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I
great.
that
have
seems
to
to do the job.
I was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
afraid of needles until I met him to like where the point there I would just like faint at the sight of a needle. And then I went through my own like crazy situation. I went through IVF and then I went through like
manifested
breaking my
fear.
leg and I had to give myself my own shots. So I wouldn't get blood clots, but it was like to feel that pain of like having to go through needles and stuff and pricking. I like went through a tinge of it, but it wasn't even the same thing.
And you conquered that fear.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
She didn't
Yeah,
have a choice.
now.
Yeah.
She broke her knee and she had to take needles.
Yeah. So.
But I feel like
Because
that's
she was
kind of what
scared that
happens
it
sometimes
happened.
too. As a caregiver, you don't have a choice, so you just rise to the occasion. You
Yeah.
just figure it out. You know.
Necessity is the mother of all invention.
But you do see something come out of you that you maybe didn't know was there. I remember when Hampton was in the ICU and the doctors and nurses would round and they would stand outside of his door and they would say, well, the diabetic kid, and they'd go through his thing. And then they'd go at the next 12-hour mark, the diabetic kid. And one day they said it and I opened up the door and I said, his name is Hampton.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I said, thank you so much. Y'all are doing a great job. But his name is Hampton. And that is the best thing. Like, that has been the thing is diabetes does not, yeah, it is part of who he is. But he is an amazing 7-year-old boy. And
doesn't define
his name is Hampton.
He doesn't
But
know
it's-
life
it's-
without
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
He's too,
it's
having
part of
two-
who he is.
doesn't
And we're
know
cool
it.
with that. But,
Yeah.
his name's Hampton.
His name is Hampton. That's his slogan. His name is Hampton. Oh God!
Evan is
I think there was nothing in there.
I'm drinking wine.
Should we all look?
I know. You haven't even
over
there.
Is your point kicking in?
Yeah.
You're right there with me. It's going up, though. So you could. So right now,
Yeah,
would
we're
you
at
be able to give
103.
him, the insulin?
Right now,
Like
Can I
from
see what he
here,
looks-
like from where you're at.
Oh yeah.
no,
Let me show you
he
his
can
picture.
only do it
He's
on his
such a cute
PDM.
kid.
Here we
You
go.
had one of these, you could.
And you can have both.
Yeah, you can do it with that. Just for yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
Wow, you have 2. Wow, one's going down one side.
Oh, I screenshot. We call them twin unicorns. You know, when their blood sugars are exactly the same and exactly the same trend.
Oh,
I'll always screenshot it because I'm like, oh, girls, look, you're the same.
Oh They're like, gosh, Mom.
It's like diabetes games.
No, they get a kick out of it too. They're like, oh, Mom, send it to us. But yeah.
That's so fun for them to be twins and to have it at the same time. I know when the other one probably got it. The first one was probably
One got
Another
it before
story.
the other?
Another story for you. So Amelia was diagnosed in October of 2016, and for 2 years, the doctors told us that Cecilia had a 50-50 chance that she would never get it.
Yeah, you did the test.
And
and
we
came back negative.
and
didn't
we didn't. We
You
did.
did the
We
test
went.
and came back negative?
We did
I'm not taking that test.
the DNA test for the markers.
Yeah.
It came back negative, so we were like, whew, dodged that bullet. She's okay. And then fast forward, started seeing all the signs, caught it really early. I remember it very clearly. We were sitting at the table, and I gave Cecilia a bowl of ice cream, and I waited like 20 minutes and finger pricked, and she was over 400.
yeah.
And
But you already know what to do, though, so.
we knew just what to do, right? We took her to the hospital, the ER and everything, got her all set up. And one of the first things that she said to me is, Amelia's not going to be alone.
Aww. See, the twins have such a strong
And
bond. I'm not even gonna say she might have,
They're always gangsters.
but twins have such a strong bond.
And
Like this
they-
bond is.
Yeah, she's always been. Amelia was so amazing. Just, this little 8-year-old who just accepted it and took it on and just went with the flow and was like, okay, this is what I need to do. Okay, all right, we're gonna do finger bricks, the boot camp. We're gonna do finger bricks. We're gonna do long acting insulin, and we're gonna, here's your diabetes bag, and we're gonna get this cute bag, and
Yeah.
we got to go out. We got to go bag shopping and
wasn't
to
tripping
hold
about
all her medical supplies and all of that. And then the reality kicked in, and you went back to school, and kids are mean. They're so mean.
Yeah, I remember your
And they
story. How
would-
you're.
Yeah, Cecilia told this story at one of the T1D Polk County meetups about how the kids, some of the kids at her school would say, started spreading rumors that what she had was contagious.
Oh my gosh.
And so a lot of kids wouldn't hang around with her anymore. And, so Cecilia was very protective of her at first. And
Girls are just mean.
they are.
Yes.
They are. And when you get to middle school, then it's like, sometimes it's like
Yeah.
flipping a switch and they turn mean and you're just, what happened? Ah! But we got through that too. Phew. And, that then her diagnosis came and, she just accepted it. Cecilia accepted it, and she said, well, Amelia's not going to be alone anymore, and we got this.
Which one is it? One was blonde and one was brunette.
Yeah, so now they color their hair a little bit. They get highlights and all of that. We use it as incentive. You do well in school, you get to go get your hair done.
That's really fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And a mom
So-
of a teen.
Exactly. Every summer, good grades, performing well in school, academically, extracurricular. We go over the summer, we get our hair done. So Cecilia likes to get her hair cut short. She gets red highlights. And Amelia likes to keep her hair long. She gets blonde highlights. So they're like total opposites in how they like to style their hair, but they are identical through and through, and so much. They're completely different personality wise, and when they're talking across the house, Daddy and I know which one is talking.
Yeah.
But other people, even with the different hair, sometimes they're still like, wait a second, which one's Cecilia and which one's Amelia? But yeah.
I love it.
The stories are going for days.
I know. I keep on going.
Well, thanks
Too
for
much fun.
having us.
They
More
It's
often.
great.
would be tickled pink to come to a future podcast
They should
also.
come.
Yeah, they would
'em.
love to meet you.
Bring them.
Shake your hand, joke around, show you some of their memes.
I want to see it all. Bring them all. Bring them all. So again, you guys have been terribly distracting with your beauty, but I was able to focus because you were talking about something we could all relate to.
Yes.
And I think every story is important, and there's no real one case study you could do for a diabetic, but at the end of the day, everyone's resilient and everyone's destined for greatness. It's just like a test of discipline. But all you guys have seen too are women, beautiful women, have stepped up to the challenge and done it eloquently, And I'm just happy to be alive at a time when there's a beautiful woman like this to take care of me.
Well, and you are a
guys.
warrior. I say that about every type 1.
Yeah.
You're a warrior, and the discipline that you have to have every day is inspiring. So
We had
for doing what
socks
you're
that
doing.
said "Diabadass."
The way I look at it is, we all get dealt a certain hand, and most people's hand is much worse, because we can deal with this. There's a lot of things that happen that you can't.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from. So, this just takes discipline. But if you step up to the challenge, you're better than normal. Trust me.
Yeah, like when your son, when you were in that one area of the hospital, but you were able to take him out of that area. He wasn't in there for a long amount of time,
Right.
And it's just just being able to be thankful for those key moments.
Your
And
baby was calling.
Oh,
Yeah.
Hey, buddy. Scott's like, I want to go home.
this is Dusko.
Hey, Dusko. How was your trip to space? We read your mama's book, or saw your mama's book.
Just ask your mama.
What about Dada?
So
Miss
sweet.
that age.
Now we gotta go home.
It is a fun
So
age.
sweet.
So fun.
Yeah.
We're coming home soon. You got us. We'll be back very soon. Almost. Love you, buddy.
So sweet.
Funny guy.
So sweet.
My baby mama.
Back to mama.
There, there's your mama.
Not the mama.
Yeah, your mama.
Dada. All right, love you, buddy. I'm gonna call you right back, okay? I'm coming home. Just keep smiling and melting my heart.
Did you pick out that sweatshirt, buddy? Yep, I knew it. I knew it. He loves that jacket. Yellow jacket.
Okay, yellow jacket. We're wrapping up now. I love you, buddy. Boo. Boo. Boo.
He's so funny. It's so funny to like have grown up on like technology, like for that to be normal and to
cute.
like him to, he could be on the phone with his grandmother and like he just sits there. He just
gonna call
I
you
just
back.
put it on a thing and he just like shows the
We're
toys
recording right
and it's just
now.
like she's in
Best
the
thing,
room.
play hide and seek.
Oh, we do all that.
Like with the FaceTime.
No, play hide and seek with the
that's cute.
FaceTime.
Oh, during COVID? Oh my god, my mom would like get on the
such a good
phone
idea.
and like
So sweet.
and I'd like hide it and then they'd have to find it.
That's a good idea.
That's a really good
so
idea.
good.
I love that.
And then they would take Mamie on a ride on their Power Wheel.
Oh yeah.
Like they put it on
Yeah,
the Power
so
Wheel, on the
sweet.
like the phone, and
Yeah,
then
too.
Yeah, the dye Easter eggs, like with my mom. Like,
Yeah. No, it's so used to it, and he's like a pro. He's like more like inept to FaceTime than I am. He just puts it there.
yeah, it's
He'll just be
normal.
like, shows her the toys, talks to him, and he's like, watch TV with me, like everything.
Yeah.
It's just really funny. But yeah. But thank you guys all for coming
Thank you.
today.
Yes.
Yes.
So fun.
And that was a lot of fun.